What's up guys, it's Vampire Bride. Today I'm doing a review of the NES Classic Edition console. I was pretty excited to do this review, though I do say that in a lot of videos. What can I say? I love what I do. Gaming and collecting are fun in themselves, and reviewing for others just adds to the fun and excitement. Okay, enough rambling, let's get started. The setup is super simple. Plug in the power supply, plug in the HDMI cord, plug in your controller, turn it on, pick a language, and you're pretty much ready to go. It's nicely packaged in its little box. The console itself is really light. It's so tiny, it's literally the size of the controller. It's literally a super adorable mini replica of the NES. It even has the little door where the game cartridge would be placed in the original NES. Of course, it doesn't work, it's just for looks, but it's really well done. It comes with one controller, which has a very short cord. I have it set up right by my PC, because that is just the simplest place for me to have it right now. And that's really the only place that the controller could even reach where I was sitting. And even still, I found myself starting to pull the console off of the desk, which doesn't hurt it as the console is so light, but obviously you don't want to keep doing that. The original NES controllers have much longer cords, but you are unable to use these as they have a different connector. The connectors on the NES Classic Edition controller are more like what you would find with a Wii console. Other than that and different writing on the back, they are almost identical to the original NES controllers. There are two controller connectors on the front of the console, of course, as there are many two-player games. But it only comes with one controller. That's not a big deal, as an additional NES Classic Edition controller can be bought for around $10. The HDMI cord was also really short, but that's not as big of a deal because those can be found pretty much everywhere, and I had a few extras lying around anyways. Other than that, there's just the micro USB power cord, and of course the instruction manual, which doubles as a neat little poster with Duck Hunt on it. I really like the box. I think it was done really well. It lists the 30 games that are on the console and shows pictures of a bunch of the game covers from the original games and in-game pictures. This retro blast from the past so far lives up to its name, as I've been having a blast. These games were well loved and appreciated in the 80s when the NES came out, and still are, even though the graphics in today's games are 100 times better. These games are iconic, and part of what started with the games of today have become. I know I'm a little late getting this console, but I wasn't going to wait in line hours and hours upon its release to get one. I'd rather pick one up later. And I wasn't going to pay $200 for what people were selling them for online. Nintendo is becoming notorious for not creating enough supply for the demand, causing people to go a little wild and the prices to get hyped up. Upon release, there were not enough to go around, and people started selling them for much more than the MSRP. But they are no longer hard to find, as you could probably find one at your local Target, Walmart, or even GameStop. I did get mine at my local GameStop. Beware, especially if buying online, as there are many fakes. Some ways to tell the difference in the real one and the fakes are, of course, the red strip at the top. And it says there are 30 games. Do not trust one that says there's 500 games on it. That is not the real one. There's also where the games are placed on the box and what games are pictured. So along with the setup being super easy, the menu and setting options are very simple as well. There are 3 different picture options to choose from, though 2 of them don't have much of a difference. The 4:3 ratio option is a little bit wider than the perfect pixel option, but other than that, I didn't really see much of a difference. Now that being said, I'm playing on a 32-inch computer monitor, so I'm not seeing a lot of difference that the whole inch wider makes whenever there's still inches on both sides of my screen that aren't being taken out. So it just doesn't make much of a difference. And then of course there's the first choice that makes it look closest to what it would look playing on an original NES. The reset button takes you back to the home screen, and even in doing so, you can still go back to your game even if you haven't saved it and start back where you were, as long as you don't open another game after that, which is a pretty neat little feature. So who would this product be for? I've heard some not so positive reviews about this product saying that it was overhyped for such a simple product, but isn't the simplicity of this product the beauty of it? I would say it's most definitely for a collector, as it really does look like a miniature NES. It's about the size of the original NES's game cartridges. Of course, it comes with 30 of the most popular and well-loved games that came out on the NES, and in my opinion, a great selection of games. It's also for someone who isn't too into modern gaming, but would like a fairly cheap way to play some retro games. Or just someone who grew up playing these games and wants an easy way to play them again. In other words, it's not necessarily a necessity. That being said, these games are pretty easy to get without paying $60 for this little console, as you can get emulators on the PC and of course on the Wii and other Nintendo consoles and handhelds. I didn't grow up playing these games, as the first console I got was a Wii, and before that I had really only played PC games, but that doesn't mean I can't appreciate them as a gamer and collector. This console is great for small children just getting into gaming because the controller is small, easy for their little fingers to reach, and also it has very few buttons, so it's easy to learn. The techie in me really wants to open this thing up, but I don't want to mess up the little rubber feet at the bottom, which you would have to do in order to unscrew it. So I won't. I've only had this NES for a couple of weeks, but during that time I've played it quite a bit. Of course, I still have many more games to play, but so far I've enjoyed a few games such as, of course, Mario Bros, Kirby, and Galaga. So far I'm absolutely loving it, and I haven't had any issues with it besides how short the cord on the controller is. Just because it's a miniature console doesn't mean the cord has to be miniature too. There's so many more hours of fun to be had with this tiny system. So with all of that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video and get to playing some more of these beautiful games. Also, I cannot wait to try out my SNES. That review will be coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button if you liked this video, and of course subscribe for more videos.